Hello and welcome back. We recently visited both Okinawa and Tokyo. When we came back, talking to a lot of friends and stuff, people kind of asked the same questions. So I thought it might be fun just to make this video with some of my observations and tips from our travels in the hopes that it might be helpful to you if you are planning a trip anytime soon. I'm usually pretty good about notes in the bottom of the video, so I will try to put anything I think is helpful down in the description below. Without further ado, I have a sausaged fingered iPad here with lots of notes on it. All right, first up on the list, do you need to speak Japanese? Lots of people speak English. The first time we visited Japan was really like a decade ago, and I feel like at that time there were less people that spoke English and less signs and stuff like that in English. But this time we went, it felt like everything was in English, so I think if you don't know any Japanese, you can probably get by. Many of the large tourist spots, all of the signs are in English, and they will have Japanese next to them, I guess because they know there are a lot of English-speaking tourists that visit that area. If you have any food allergies or dietary restrictions, we found that many of the places were able to answer those questions. We didn't have any issues. And if maybe you go to a place where they struggle a little bit with English or you're not able to figure out the words in Japanese, I would definitely recommend you download Google Translate. We also have used the Apple Translate, but we found that the Google Translate worked a little bit better. So you can download the different languages specifically on Google Translate. So I would definitely recommend you do that just in case you're in a situation where you don't have service. Also with Google Translate, another thing, just in case you have never used it before, you can hit the little camera icon and then you can hold it up and it'll translate the characters for you if you're not able to read any of them. So I would never call myself fluent, but I'm kind of like a super clever first grader. So I'm able to get around, I'm able to read a little bit, but I would definitely encourage you to pretty please just learn like a couple of words, maybe learn how to say thank you or to say sumimasen, to say excuse me or something like that. Just a couple of words I think will really help you out. At the very least, oterai. That is turlet. So how did we decide where to stay in Tokyo? So like I mentioned, we had been to Tokyo before, and the last time we visited Tokyo, we stayed in Ueno Park. We said, why not stay there again? We liked the vibe. It was kind of quiet, a little bit out of the hubbub, still lots to do, still lots to eat, a little bit cheaper than maybe like Shinjuku area. But really there's no wrong answer here. If there's a hotel that you think looks cool, that is in your price range, that's near stuff you want to go see, I would do that. But my probably number one tip for selecting a hotel or selecting an area, you really want to focus on where is closer to a train station. The last thing you're going to want to do after a long day of fun and adventuring, and if you're me, stuffing your face, is a super long walk back to your hotel room from the train station. On that note, I do want to mention we did walk around quite a bit at night and we never felt unsafe, we never felt uncomfortable, so just want to put that out there. I know there's crime everywhere, but we felt pretty at ease wherever we were. Do you need cash? The short answer is yeah. You do. So all of the big stores do take credit cards, and we used our credit card that didn't have any foreign transaction fees. So maybe check ahead of time before you go, check your cards and see what fees you do or don't have and kind of plan accordingly there. To buy metro passes, you will probably need cash. Some of the machines looked like they took cards, but we could never get our card to work. Could just be user error, but just be prepared if you also have that same issue. Another alternative is the Suica card, which is a prepaid reloadable card that you can use. And also if you get the mobile app, you can add it to your Apple Wallet. We didn't use this because we were only there for about a week, but I do think this is a good thing to maybe investigate if you're going to be there for a while. But I do believe the balance expires after 180 days, so keep that in mind. So you can buy these cards at both Narita and Haneda Airport, as well as I think most of the JR stations have the vending machines. And if you're having trouble reloading the card, there's usually a little booth that's right next to the turnstiles you go through that has a person in there who is probably going to be able to help you out. That being said though, I think if you're not there for a long time, I probably wouldn't get the card. I would just try to use a card with no transaction fees or cash. So I got cash at my bank before we went to Japan, and I don't think I got a good deal. Actually, once I got to the airport, even the airport, like the American airport, I think the transaction fees were a little bit better at the airport than they were at the bank. I'm not sure what the rates are by the time you're actually watching this video, but I would definitely encourage you to shop around. If you still have your country's currency and you were not able to exchange it for yen before your trip to Japan, don't stress out too much. There's money exchange machines pretty much everywhere. I have seen them in hotel lobbies, I have seen them in convenience stores, and I've actually even seen them in some of the claw arcades. So there's plenty of places you can go to. I don't know how good of a deal that is, especially if you're on your UFO high. I don't know if you're gonna get the best rate, but it does exist. You are gonna need cash for any of the gachapon machines, which are the little capsule toys, or if you wanna get pressed pennies. I myself am a lover of both machines. I love to collect these. Many of those machines don't take the paper money, they take these 100 yen coins. You're gonna need a lot of 100 yen coins if you are into that kind of arcade stuff like I am. Some of the arcade machines that we went to, they did take the Suica card. So just something to think about if you wanna use the Suica card for maybe transportation and for the arcade games, that might be something just to think about. But they don't all take it, just some of them. I also very much love visiting all of the vending machines in Japan. They have a lot of delicious num-nums in there that I like to partake in, and a lot of them have a card reader that says they take card, but again, I had a little trouble. I think maybe once I was able to get a machine that was like Coca-Cola run. I think I was able to get one of those machines to take my card. It was a tap to pay, but I didn't have a ton of luck. Even with the laundry facilities in the hotel, some of them maybe have an app and some of them say that they will take a card, but I had no such luck. I ended up just having to always make sure that I had 100 yen coins on deck, but even the laundry machines will only take 100 yen coins if you're gonna pay cash. All that being said, if you're gonna need that, you are gonna need a coin purse. All right, you cannot bring Sudafed into Japan. So comment down below if you are in this camp. Every time I fly, it's just force of habit, I take a Sudafed before I go. I'm prone to having a lot of like ear pain when I fly, and really the only thing that helps is a Sudafed. When we flew out to Japan, I had to make sure that I only had enough to take just to get me there. And once I actually like entered the country, I didn't have any more Sudafed because it would have been illegal to enter the country with the Sudafed. Here in the States, we are really used to, if you've got the sniffles or something, you can just go basically anywhere, grocery store, Target, Walmart, Walgreens, anywhere, and we can just grab some cold medicine or something and be on about our merry way. Well, that doesn't fly there. Not only am I already prone to ear pain, but I was starting to get sick right before it was time for us to go home. So I was really nervous, especially on like a 12-hour flight back into the country. I was really concerned about having really excruciating ear pain. What do you do if you get sick? You're not going to be able to just go into a Lawson or a Family Mart to get over-the-counter drugs. You actually have to go to a pharmacy, and you'll go up to the counter and speak to a pharmacist and explain to him what your symptoms are. You can always pull out the Google Translate and have the conversation that way through your phone. Basically, I told him I have a lot of head congestion, I have a stuffy nose, what do you got for me? And this is what they gave me. It was kind of like a Japanese Sudafed, I guess. And this actually was quite awesome. It did the trick, and I was able to take this before I got on the plane. I went to a pharmacy at the airport. In Narita, I think there's a couple locations of different pharmacies. It was a big green cross you'll go to, and you'll be able to speak to the pharmacist there and explain what you need. This was, I want to say something like 14 bucks. So a little pricier by a mile. If you buy store brand Sudafed here, that's like a couple dollars, I think, right? So keep that in mind. You have to go to a pharmacy, you have to speak to a pharmacist, and it's gonna probably be a little more expensive than what we're used to in the States. Flying domestically in Japan. So when we first flew from the States into Japan, we flew into Okinawa first. And then when we left Okinawa, we flew from Okinawa to Tokyo. Just a couple of differences. I fly domestically in the States pretty frequently. For one, I have never had my bags handled so gingerly in all of my travels. We checked a bag for this trip from from the point of handing it off to receiving it, it was just so gentle. It didn't look like someone had taken a bat to it. I guess I should not have been as surprised as I was. It's kind of funny because I specifically didn't purchase certain souvenirs or things that I wanted to buy, like glassware and stuff like that, because I was like, oh, there's no way it's ever gonna make it back home. And I feel like I probably could have brought that stuff back, although we flew back in through Dallas, so I don't know, that might have been the weak link in the luggage chain. Also, the boarding process flying domestically was a little bit different. I got to the terminal and I was sitting there and I was actually getting really concerned because the flight left in like 45 minutes and we had not even started boarding. So I was really confused. I was like, this is my gate, right? Maybe about 25 to 30 minutes before the plane was supposed to take off, they did the boarding. They called us in different groups. That was the smoothest boarding I have ever seen in my life. I'm speaking from experience. If I had gotten on a Spirit Airlines flight here and tried to board a plane like that, it would be all over the internet. There would be so many fights. You know, everyone got on, put their carry-on up above, sat in their seat, and everyone was just vibing, pleasant. It was actually a pretty nice experience. Okay, a couple of quick etiquette notes. If you watched my Okinawa video about the hotel and some of the experience there, you know that I made a snafu right before the women's bath was gonna close at the hotel. I managed to sneak in for a little bit. No one else was in there. I think maybe one person was leaving as I was going in. And I, in my Pilgrim American brain, went in with a swimsuit, which is a big no-no. You're not supposed to wear a swimsuit at all. You're supposed to go into a public bath naked. So I felt bad about that. That's something to note. If you want to do a public bath, you will not wear a swimsuit. I'm speaking to all my other American pilgrims out there. Also, you're supposed to tie your hair up in a public bath. And unfortunately, if you have tattoos, you are not allowed to visit the public bath. And it seemed to be pretty common when we were at the Hilton Tokyo Bay. The pool area there also had a similar sign about having to cover up any visible tattoos. All right, be quiet. When you're on the train, be quiet. Here, if you're in New York and you get on the train, then you're like, uh-oh, and some people get on with a boombox and they're like, it's showtime. Like, that happens and it's loud, but that will not happen in Japan. People are really quiet on the train, and I believe that you're not supposed to also eat on the train too, so don't show up on the train with like a foot-long tuna sandwich from Subway or something and start going to town. Tipping just isn't a thing. When you go to a restaurant, you will see a price and that's the price you pay. Sometimes you'll see a price and then you'll see a second little price and it'll be in parentheses and that'll say, oh, the price including tax. That's all you're gonna see. There's not gonna be any additional tip math you have to do or anything like that. The price is the price. So many of the restrooms, while they have fancy toilets with bidets and such, they do not have paper towels for you to dry your hands after you're done washing them. So you will actually see in different stores sections of washcloths, and people will keep those with them so that when they go to the bathroom and they wash their hands, they'll have something to dry their hands on. Last few tips and then we will get a move on. Please wear comfortable shoes that are already broken in. I say this a lot. This is not the time for your like Michael Kors fashion wedges. Like, please do not do it. Do not wear shoes that you bought 2 days ago to walk in this trip. You're going to be doing a lot of walking, and even if you are a physically active person or you go to the gym all the time, you're going to be just doing a lot of like straight walking while you explore. And there are certain places where you might have to take your shoes off, like if you go into maybe a more traditional place like a temple. It's maybe something that you can take off and on easily too. And even when you go into a hotel room, they'll have slippers for you and you can take your shoes off and put slippers on when you scoot around the room. So just like in my house, no shoes. Go to a tourist area, obviously, because they're tourist areas for a reason, right? But don't be afraid to deviate. Some of the best things that we really enjoyed were we went to a tourist spot and then just kind of wandered and deviated from the path. And it's just fun. Exploring feels good. Travel as light as you can. If you watch my Confessions of a Chronic Overpacker video, you know that I am inclined to bring more things than anyone needs on a trip. But I feel like the more I travel, the less crap I bring. But in this case, I would definitely recommend bringing less crap with you because there's gonna be instances where you're gonna have to be going up and down a lot of stairs and you might have to carry your suitcase, getting down to the train stations and stuff, there were elevators, but it's usually like one small elevator, and that elevator maybe is already filled with elderly people or people with strollers or something like that, and you don't want to end up like missing your train because you have a bunch of like cups and buckets with you. So in the same vein of traveling light, I think most hotels probably have laundry facilities. That's definitely something to look up before you leave. I brought like those little laundry sheets with me. I think the one in Okinawa only had one machine that had preloaded laundry soap, but the hotel in Tokyo had all newer machines, and most of the newer machines had laundry soap already preloaded in there, so you didn't even need to do that. So if you pack light, you could just wash your clothes. So speaking of hotels, when you actually go to check into your hotel, make sure you don't have it like buried deep in your carry-on or anything like that, because you will need to show your passport to check into your hotel room. You can take pictures on your phone, videos on your phone, but if you're somebody like me who is traveling with an actual camera, I would say buy an extra memory card before you go. I have never been like, oh man, I have too many empty memory cards. I've never said that in my entire existence. I had a lot of memory cards and I filled all of them up, and I'm really grateful that I just bought another memory card on Amazon before we left. We found that even in Akihabara, where there are a lot of different electronic stores, a lot of the prices were higher on the memory cards. I didn't think anything was like a super deal. I think it's probably better to err on the side of extra memory card if you're a camera user like me, than to get over there and end up paying like 40, 50 bucks for a memory card. Bring an umbrella or a poncho. It does rain there, and I mean, I guess you could say that about anywhere, but I was really grateful that right before we left at the last minute, I threw our rain ponchos in the bag. Talk to other travelers. I feel like one of the smartest things you can do is when you see other people traveling is to talk to them and kind of exchange travel stories a little bit. It's kind of a fun thing to do. Yeah, we have Google and stuff, but word of mouth from people who are experiencing a similar trip as you is kind of just an interesting way to find out other little hidden fun spots or places to eat or things to go see. It's just good fun. So in that same wavelength, if you find yourself someplace and you're like, gosh, I didn't bookmark anything over here, I don't know where to eat, walk around until you find the place with the longest line. That has never failed us. If you don't know where to go and you see a long line somewhere, don't ask any questions, just go get in the line. Transportation. So we've already talked about planes and trains. Let's talk about automobiles, right? So Uber exists there. You didn't need to get a special app or anything like that. You can just take an Uber. But we found that there were taxis pretty much everywhere, and the taxis tended to be slightly less expensive. And pro tip here, the door has a mechanism that will open automatically, so you don't even need to do anything. Convenient store foods is yummy. That's it. That's the whole bullet point I wrote for this. It just is good. They have a lot of really good hot food. There's bento boxes. There's different rice bowls you can eat. There's fresh sushi. There's baked goods. There's a lot of excellent stuff to eat. So there's really nothing wrong with just grabbing a bag of snacks and sitting at a park. I've never been upset with anything I've gotten at a convenient food store. If you don't have an international phone plan, you're going to need to get an eSIM. We used Airalo. Not sponsored, but I have a code I'll put down below so you can get a couple bucks off if you want to try it out. A lot of places we went though did have free open Wi-Fi. That being said, it's not the safest to just always do all your stuff on open Wi-Fi, so you probably still will need an eSIM, but there was Wi-Fi at the hotel. Most of the restaurants we went to had Wi-Fi all around. There's not as many public trash cans as we have here. Here, if you walk around, there's like trash cans every couple of feet. There, if you have garbage, you're gonna have to hold on to it until you get to a trash can. Usually like convenience stores, people get snacks there, there are trash cans, so there'll be trash cans there, or in train stations, that's where you'll find a trash can. But if you're just like out for a stroll down the street and you got a coffee or something and you're walking with it, you will probably not find a trash can to throw it away in. People don't walk around and eat the way that we do here. I didn't see a lot of people just walking around shoveling food in our face like I like to do. So probably why there's not trash cans every couple feet. Also, I would recommend that when you're planning out your days, you kind of adjust your schedule and take into account when rush hour is in the subway. We have been down there during rush hour and it is like a mess in terms of the amount of people that are there. We've seen people physically pressed up against the door of the subway. It is really crowded. You're on vacation. You do not need to be another body on the subway, and it's not fun for you to do that either. So we usually kind of walked from point A to point B until rush hour was over, and then we went down and got on the subway and went wherever we were gonna go. So I think that's all of my notes for now. If I think of anything else, I'll maybe drop it down below. Please let me know if you are lovers of traveling to Tokyo or just Japan in general. Let me know some of your top tips down below. I'm sure there are plenty of things that I forgot. This was just some quick notes that I thought of that I thought might be helpful. Let me know. I haven't been to, I want to go to Kyoto and Osaka. There's a lot of other places I want to go the next time we go to Japan. So let me know down below, do you have any tips for me for when we visit those places? Or just let me know one of your favorite things about visiting Japan, or if you haven't been, but you're planning on going soon, drop down below the thing you are most excited to do or see or eat. I have some super fun trips coming up, so if you follow me and you enjoy this playlist, don't worry, there's more where that came from. Otherwise, that's gonna do it for me today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Go forth, be kind, be creative.